I'm Johnny, I'm on a bulk. Let me show you what I'm gonna make for lunch. Let's get it. Let's start out with our eggs. Eggs are a great source of protein. They got about 6 grams of protein each. So we're gonna scramble up 5 eggs. So quick math, that's 30 grams of protein. Easy, boom. And with my scrambled eggs, a lot of people don't know this, but if you want to get it to be fluffy, you just do a little splash of milk or milk substitute. I got almond milk. I'm gonna splash a little seasoned salt in here too. And we will get to whisking. All right, so we got our eggs right here. Looking pretty good. We're just gonna let them sit here for a while as we work on some of the other stuff. Let's go. So next up, we got our onion. You basically wanna get a white onion and peel the skin off. Luckily, I had some left over from dinner last night. But really it's not that hard of a process. So we're gonna chop this up into like nice little cubes. So yeah, let's get to chopping. I am gonna hang on to like some of these like sort of more full rings, and I'm gonna leave them like not totally raw, but I'm only gonna cook them a little bit. Versus these guys, I'm gonna caramelize up nice and good. All right, so for this step, we're gonna be caramelizing these diced onions that we just cut up, and we're gonna be using stainless steel, little skillet here. Let's get it. All right, so our first step here is to put an unreasonable amount of olive oil in the pan. Let's get the burner on and turn it on like medium low-ish. So it's been a couple minutes. It's about time to check and see if our pan is hot enough. So a little trick that my mom taught me is go over to the sink, get some water, splash it on your hands, then take like that wet hand and go whoosh. And then if it sizzles like it is now, it's ready. All right, so we're gonna take our onions, just the diced ones, and just scrape them into that hot pan. And just to make sure we're getting a nice even fry, we're just gonna stir these around. So that's cooking up. I wanna get to work on our next and probably most important part is the chicken breast. Ton of protein. It's really good for you. And we're gonna be doing like about ½ pound of chicken breast, maybe a bit more. It's delicious, good for you. What could go wrong? All right, so we're gonna take our chicken breast out of the packaging. I prefer organic chicken breasts. You can basically do whatever you want, but I just think this shit tastes the best. So take it out of the packaging. You gotta wash your hands after touching this, by the way. But take it out of the packaging, toss it on the cutting board. What I'm gonna do, just to kind of like cut down on the mass here, is cut it horizontally, just down the middle here. Kind of get like a nice fillet going if you guys have ever done fish. Just like that. Now we can do that as much as we want. I might do that one more time. Start cutting them up into cubes. All right, so we got our chicken cut up into cubes here. Our next and probably most important step is to wash our hands. We just touched a bunch of chicken breasts and we don't want to give ourselves salmonella. We don't want to give our friends salmonella if we're serving them. So wash your hands. So we're gonna pop our cast iron down right next to our friend here, the onions. I'm gonna give these a stir just to let them know I didn't forget about you. Yeah, there we go, looking good. So, we got our cast iron down here. Just like the last time, we're gonna put an ungodly amount of olive oil in here. Beautiful. Then, we're gonna turn the heat on. Before we throw the chicken in the pan, we're gonna do a healthy serving of seasoned salt and oregano. All right, looks like our pan's ready to go, so we're gonna start scraping this chicken right into the pan. Unlike the onions, we have to actually constantly stir the chicken just to make sure nothing gets too overcooked or undercooked. And once everything's nice and mixed up, you're just gonna toss a lid onto the pan. So while that chicken's cooking up, we're gonna take a look at our onions, which are looking nice and caramelized. I think it's about time to take them off and put it into our serving bowl. Ooh. All the while, we gotta keep an eye on our chicken. Just constantly stirring it up. Don't ever wanna undercook it. So now that our onions are done, we have a free pan here. So let's put that to use. Put a little bit more oil in here. And then we're gonna take our scrambled egg mixture that we made earlier. And since the pan's still hot, it's perfectly fine to just toss it right in the pan. Now what you're going to do right away, turn the heat up to medium-low and just constantly stir your scrambled eggs around. That'll get them nice and fluffy. Alright, so after a couple minutes, our scrambled eggs are going to be just about ready. And when that happens, you're just going to toss them right into your serving pan. So an optional next step is to put a little bit of cheese on top of your already hot scrambled eggs. And so that'll melt the cheese onto it. Cheese has a lot of really healthy fat, and these have 7 grams of protein per slice. Back in on our chicken here, and we do so by using a temperature gauge. We insert it into the biggest, fattest piece of chicken we can find, and as long as that number is above 165, we're good to go. So our chicken is ready. So we're gonna dump the contents of our chicken pan into our serving dish. And so now it's about time to start flavoring some things up. So you're gonna take that pan that you just used, some of those old onions, just toss them in here. And we're only gonna have these in here for just a little bit. While that onion's cooking up, we're gonna take a look back at our serving dish, and we are going to season it with a little bit of parsley, mostly just for looks, and this is optional, a bit of hot sauce. So once those onions are about done, they really only needed a few minutes. We are going to take these right on over to the serving dish. So now we have our completed dish. All that's left is to sit down and enjoy it. How do you do?
Good. I have a good one for you.
Oh, really?
We're a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat.
He gave up.